In this video, I'm going to show you how to create the hero section of this design from designer Roman, and it's a game insider. This is part 2 of the tutorial. If you haven't yet, here is a link to the part 1. Hi, I'm Juntao. I'm a software developer and an author. I have published several books on React, testing-driven development, and clean code. Once you mastered all the techniques we covered in this video, you will be able to handle all the complex web design. Like everything else, it always starts from something simple, and once you have the solid fundamental, like the basic skills, layout, typography, color, semantic HTML, you have all these build blocks. It's up to you to implement any kind of web page. As always, we start from the markup first. That means we will break down the design into a few different sections and try to reproduce this structure in HTML first. And by looking at the hero section here, it's pretty easy actually. It has a limited number of elements. Like this one is a heading or headline. This is the paragraph, and there's a button here. And on the right hand side, there's an image. There's a little bit complexity here, which is it has some description on the bottom of the image, and a ranking number here, and some navigation. It looks like it's a carousel or something. It could have multiple images, but in this video we are not going to implement this kind of dynamic. This kind of behavior can be implemented. Normally it will involve JavaScript. We will skip that for now and only implement this part. There are a few details as well, like the box shadow for the button and the image, and we will take care of them as well. So yeah, let's first write the markup. So I guess this whole section could be, we can put it into a section and give it a name as hero class, and inside that it has two parts, the left and the right. So for the left, let's give it a name like dot information. Maybe it could be any name, but it's just give it a name that makes sense. And in the information there's a h1, and the h1 has a sibling called paragraph, and then there's a button here. This button is we call it primary button because it's a call to action. It has the brightest like a focal point on the page, so we will give it a better name. It's a button primary. And I guess if it's a whole design, like if we have to implement multiple pages for the website, we'll have a lot of button primary in different places, like login, maybe not login but sign up, or like a subscribe, things like that. So we'll give it a button primary for now. And for the right hand side, we will get into that very soon. So for the h1 frozen adventure paragraph, we can leave it for now, and the button read more. Right? Okay, so the quickest way to generate some like a random content, because I'm not going to type this whole paragraph. It's not that long, but yeah, sometimes it could be very long. So I will just use the shortcuts. It's called LORAM. It's an AMT abbreviation as well. Like you can say, give me 20 words, and tab, it will generate that 20 words for you, which is pretty handy. And for the right hand side, let's give it another name. We put it inside a image container. It's not a fancy name, but I guess it should work. it has an image, and along with the image there is a we put these two tags into a container. We call it I don't know, description or something like that. Description, and inside the description there is a span dot name and a span dot renting. That should work. And for the image, let's put it. We have a assets hero, and the alternative is Destiny2. And for the name, Destiny2 Beyond Light, and then the rating is 4.5. Okay, it's pretty much of the markup, the HTML. I have a hero section, which is a container of all these parts, and the heading, the paragraph, the button for read more, and the right hand side is the image container. Inside it has an image and two description. Yeah, that's pretty much about the markup. Let's have a look at the page. And now wow, it looks pretty fancy. This image is huge, but that's fine. We will get rid of that very quickly. And yeah, the problem, I guess, it's not horizontally aligned. It's just from top to bottom. So firstly, let's start with the container, the hero. Alright, so now let's start to write some CSS. So firstly, let's put a comment here, hero section. So I normally don't write too much comments in my code, but for CSS, I guess it's much cleaner. So now let's start from the container. It's called hero, and we give it a display flags, right? And now, because the image is full size, it will expand all the space. We will get there very quickly. But now let's adding some margin for this hero section first. We give the margin for the top bottom maybe 3 or 4 RAM, maybe 3 for now, and left and right we give it a 1. Yeah, just give it a little bit more space here. You can see in the design it has some relatively large space here, so we'll give that. And for the information flags. So flags, if you're not familiar with the flags attribute, you can see it can accept 3 parameters or like attribute for the value. So the first one is grow fact, and the second one is a shrink fact, and the last one is a basis. So we put the flags is grow 1, shrink 1, and the basis of the y's is 50%, right? And for the image container, if we put the same thing, so if there are available space, it will equally grow and shrink. So that's what we want, right? In this case, we want this to be like a half and half. But in some cases, it might not the case. Like we want one particular area to grow faster or shrink faster than the other part. That's when we can use a different value here. So at the moment we want the 2 parts to have exactly the same y's. So now yeah, you can see the image is still there, so we need to resize the image to take 100% of their parent. And now you can see it's pretty aligned. And for the heading, let's give the information h1 a good font size, let's say 4 maybe. I guess 4 looks a little bit big. Let's give it a 3.5. And also you can see here the space between these two lines is relatively big. We want to make it narrower. We can give it light height to be 1. So default is different from browser to browser, but in Chrome I think it's 1.15, and we want to make it smaller. And if you save that, it will be like that. It's shrink a little bit, but if you give it 0.5, it will be, I guess it has some overlap. That's probably not what we want. We get it 1 for now. And for the paragraph, we would like it has some margin at both top and bottom. Give it maybe 1 rem. And for the left and right, I give it a 0. Yeah, it's pretty much, but we can always adjust this spacing thing, maybe 1.5. Yeah, and for the button primary, so firstly appearance is now, border now, and background color is the primary color, and the color the text color is white. It should have some padding, and it's 0.5 and 1 for left and right. Yeah, it's pretty much like that. So it will have border radius, which is 1 rem, I think. Yeah, it's pretty much like that. Not exactly, but pretty similar, right? Yeah, it has some bugs in shadow as well. We will address that very soon, but first let's fixing the image first. So as you can see, the image is the text is actually overlapping the image in the design. So we would like to make the container as a relative container, position relative, and we will position this as the absolute position. So for the container, let's make it position relative, and for the what do you call that one, it's description. For the description, we want it to position absolute, and we want it to be at the bottom of the container, bottom 0, and left 0, right? We need it to be like moved a little bit up. So we need the text to be moved up a little bit, so give it 1 rem for now. And let's change the color to white so it can be see clearly. And the left, I guess it's 1 rem as well, so it's moved a little bit. And for the bottom, maybe it's 2. Yeah, it's pretty much like that design. Yeah, and we would like to make the image border radius 1 rem maybe, or maybe 2 rems. Yeah, I guess it's pretty like the design. Let's adding some details to the hero section to make it more realistic. I guess the first thing will be the spacing. I think that's the most important part. As you can see here, there should be some space, additional space here. Give some padding to the padding right to the paragraph. Let's give it maybe 4 rem. Yes, it looks fine, but the problem is it's starting to moving this a little bit down. Let's align these items to the center of the horizontal line. Yeah, it looks fine now. And then let's add in some box shadows to the button and the image. Adding box shadow is relatively easy. We just say shadow the X offset and the Y offset, and then blur radiance. We give it a more like so, and color, I don't know, we just pick up a color for now. Let's see how it goes. Yeah, it's not that bad, right? It has this purplish shadow, and let's copy that to the image as well. But yeah, I feel it's for image it's a little bit too strong. Normally we pick up color for a shadow, we should try lighter, right? So let's try some light gray, maybe 999 for the button looks fine. And for this image, yeah, I think it looks pretty nice. And for the paragraph color, I feel it's a little bit too dark, and we want to create some hierarchy on the page. So let's make the color a little bit lighter. We make it a 333 for now. Not too much difference. Maybe 444. Yeah, maybe 6. Yeah, I think it's relatively light. So 6. Maybe I should change the font weight as well, a little bit lighter. Yeah, it's create more hierarchy, and we emphasize the title much more than the paragraph itself. So that's pretty good. Yeah, I think the button is fine. We probably need some more space on the right and left. Maybe 1.5. It's too much. 1.2. Yes, I think it's pretty much like that. So the final touch will be the icon. So as you can see here, there's a icon for the renting, right? It's great to have some decoration on the page like this small icon. It can make your design very stand out. So let's try the Google font. So in the Google font you can pick up the icons, and we need that star, and the way we integrate or like we use this font icon is you can use like a variable icon font, or you can use a static one. So let's try this static icon font. So basically you copy this link just as you put a link in your CSS, but yeah, the only difference is it's pointing to a external link, which is fine. And we will copy the code for that icon. So let's do that and put it in between these two spans, right? So now we have a star in the code. Let's check it out on the page. Yeah, it looks fine. You can see it's there. The only problem is it's not quite aligned, which is also fine. We can mix the description of Flex container and then align them vertically. Description, right? So we make the description display Flex, and align items center. That should do the trick. And then we may need additional space for naming, name, and we give it a margin right, like 1 rep. Let's just push it a little bit further. Yeah, I think it's pretty much like that.
That's all for today. I hope you enjoyed, and if you found this useful, please consider to subscribe and turn on your notification. So yeah, any new releases you will be notified. Also, if you have any questions or comments, like better ways to implement it, or like you have some general questions, like you don't understand which some part of it, please comment below as well. And yeah, I will look through all the comments. And yeah, until next time, see you.